All right, traders. Hey, welcome on back to close things out for this week, this Friday, January 16th. Got to check my week date at least. But great to have all of us still back here. Otherwise, Grant, Leda, Andrea, Michael, John, Uday, got Barb, got all of us here just joining us here in chat. Give me a quick sound check. Let me know if you got me here. Good to go, though, otherwise. And for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc., all of us on the social channels, at least popping up down below, lower left at Cyber Trading U. Just make sure to hit the follow and subscribe button down there. But let me get my pre-market data showing up here. I guess I'm not fully prepared here. So there we are. Now, hey, heading into the afternoon, we've had a really good morning altogether. IBRX, we did pretty well on the JFBR trade. The Vero, which was the big, shiny object in the room, we actually sent out an email to all of our trading room members here, at least on that one. We want to hear from you, see how you did on that one at least. But for right now, LCFY, this is actually a pretty good move just before. So this just goes to what we tell you all the time, not in a degenerate gambler type of way, but hey, there's always going to be something else that will pop up across our desk. And if you miss out on something at one point, don't beat yourself up too much. There might be something coming across your plate that is 2 times as good. So with that, I mean, at least even here just before on the LCFY, it was more of a dud to begin the day. It was a pop and drop move in pre-market. But across the morning, it was just one of those trades where we were saying, all right, well, let's see what could happen around this 440, 450-ish area. And it broke under, pulled back above. This was honestly just perfect timing where we caught this just as it was pushing up and above and caught it back right over 440, 448 was my entry. And I took the first half of this trade out right at 515, which is 715, 515 the first half. And then the second half, I just closed out like just took the money and ran the second half even. But otherwise for the afternoon, it's kind of curling back up here a little bit. Maybe there could be one last run on it. We'll come back to this trade by the end of the meeting at least. We did really good, though. I want to just go over that Vero. So VERO. Any of our traders here, Grant, Sam, Leda, Kathleen, all of us here, otherwise just message Fausto back, write him back over email at least. We had sent out just an email to all of our members earlier, just checking in, seeing how everyone did on this stock. I went over this just privately in a few sessions with coaching with students before. More or less, if you missed it here in pre-market and it popped up without you at 7 in the morning, I don't think that we're complaining too much if we're able to still get a piece of the pie here at $8. If you're able to get in at 8 and out at $10, get $2 a share on let alone like 200 shares, even if it's your half size, full size, that can make your days pay plus. So that type of trade, even getting in from 8 out of 10, yeah, it's up a lot already. It is high risk. But, with that in mind, it still provided a pretty easy opportunity based on the levels, based on what we saw from Bookmap, based on what we saw from the historical chart otherwise. There was a pretty big iceberg at $8. I'll even show you that here briefly. But more or less, this is what we cover in our curriculum, even in phase 1 coming up next week on Tuesday. We'll return and we'll come back for the phase 1 stock course. This is the big resistance at $8, 79, 80,000 share seller. So that created a pretty good entry level over time. Now that's just where I tell you, don't beat yourself up too much when you miss it here at $4. It's pre-market. It didn't pull back. All right. Maybe you could have looked for a little pullback there. It didn't happen. But from there was plenty of other opportunities left, right? Plenty of other levels you could have made your days pay on, to where at the end of it all, it's like you're not even too worried about this here at this point. If you're still able to get a good piece of the pie later on and walk out a happy camper, that's what matters. Between that and just not blowing up your damn account. So please make sure that you set your stops on all these trades here too, at least during the regular market hours. For the afternoon right now, another trade we'll kind of come back to at the end, kind of like the LCFY. It's up a lot already here. This one definitely up a lot. It was up as much as 750, 800%, I think, at one point. We tell our students all the time where we see stocks up 100%, probably like a couple handfuls of time a week, right? But otherwise, we still see stocks that go up 500%, 1,000%, a few times a month. So with that, this was one of those moves. For the afternoon, it's possible we can see one more push. I guess it is trying to make a bounce here, but we'll come back to it, let it prove itself to us. Just like this, JFBR. This one was a nice trade earlier on today. I took one loss on this at first. It jumped right back in once I saw it coiling back up over 130. And then from there, shortly afterwards, it got halted This was a hell of a move on this trade. Ended up getting out on this right around 169 on this. At that point, lower highs, these stocks you can't trust as far as you could throw. Daily chart speaks for itself. Same to be said for Vero, quite frankly. So, that's where we said on the Vero trade, we'll come back to that at least by the end of this meeting. The JFBR is done. I think this trade's completely done, dead in the water. Jaguar, JAGX. This one we also have a history with in the past. I mean, just before a reverse split here back a couple of years ago, ran up and back down, and then back here going into, well, actually a year later, back April of 25 as well. So, well, it's January, not April yet. So I guess we have a few more months until that happens for 2026. Seriously, though, at least going into the afternoon, pretty flat for right now. Already made like a quick morning pop drop type thing. That's all. This is still holding up. It's proving itself here. Definitely higher lows. Just popped a higher high before, but shook back down. Bit of a rejection from this area of resistance here. 450, 440-ish right there. So there's a chance it goes back up there one more time. But looking at this chart, I could see this exhausting out, pulling back. I'm not really a big fan of that right now. This was a pop and drop type of move. Called it out on the pop up, but if it's not going to hold support, if it's going to shake back down pretty quickly there, what's going to come afterwards, just more of a drop. So unfortunately, this was one of those quick trades up and down. LCFY, I guess I ran into this trade, but we'll come back to it at the end here, like we said. We'll at least give that a last look. All right, so now we kind of ran across the top of the gainer side, at least there. Now I feel like we can kind of skim through. Well, we'll skim through. Let me spend a couple of minutes, if you don't mind, at least on this IBRX. Let me ask any of our traders in right now, Kathleen, Leda, Samlin, and Randy Bell, any of our traders here and on the IBRX from before? I can't believe that this has been as effortless as it's been. I mean, based on the news, there's a chance it can run, but this was Christmas over again, right? This was Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever you celebrate, all over again into January. So Tim, Kevin, there we go. Laid it in and out a couple times, very nice. Kevin in from the 503 from earlier today. He's doing pretty good. It's holding up nice for him. Bill, William C, in and out today, very nice. Tim, where are you in from? I was emailing a few of us last night here, at least just kind of checking in with some coaching students, asking them just separately, like, hey, are you in on this trade still? Are you still holding on? So Tim, one of those definitely. Where are you in from, Tim, on this one? Kathleen, in and out, back in again, I think she says. Very nice from her. Going into the afternoon, a couple of different ideas. We're going to put this on our list, like no brainer. It's at the highs on good liquidity. Doesn't matter if old Josh is in on it here or not. I mean, it's a good stock for you for the afternoon. So it's kind of teetering over this CVP level right now, right around 530-ish. The more it kind of nips that, pop. That's what we're looking for. But we have resistance at 6. That's kind of easy to see here. Real quick. Where do we have resistance now? Kath, Bill, Tim, all of us here otherwise. Tim, you're in from 226. Nice job from him. He's up almost over 100% now. Nice entry from him. Maybe 326 perhaps, possibly. But where do we have resistance here on this screen, folks? What do we got now? $10, right, Sam? $10. And yesterday, there was about 500,000 shares there. Today, not so much, about 158,000. So a lot less. And with less selling pressure, that allows the stock a chance to try and, well, breathe even more. It's already moved up enough. But hey, once the selling pressure is kind of off the order book a bit there, it allows the stock a chance to try and run up even further. So for the afternoon, absolutely. IBRX, no brainer on our list for all of us here otherwise. Really good liquidity, good volume otherwise, tight spread, filled in order book. This is exactly what we tell you, though, all the time. Like, focus on those stocks. Those are the stocks that are easier to manage, right? Vero, this thing was pretty crazy to begin with, but it was up so much that the order book is going to thin out. Going over to the IBRX, we started on that, I think, at $3 maybe, 220s maybe otherwise, Tim. So you see this at 5:30 now. All right, well, it's up 80% from there, 75% from there. So that's not 300, that's not 800 like the Vero. It could pop more, but if it does, just be careful. Even this will thin out a little bit more from here. So, it's tradable, good stock. Now, the ASTS trade, AST Space Mobile, this had a really good push overnight. News with Trump and kind of announcing them as like the Golden Dome, maker, manufacturer, supplier, whatever you want to call it. Things way over my pay grades. But, in terms of the stock itself, we've done very well on this trade in the past. And I'm not just saying went more within our price range as a stock. I'm talking about like, all that military talk and tech and all that stuff way over my pea brain. But at least for right now, we were on this trade going back into 2024, year and a half ago, over summertime there. Pushed up pretty nicely, built higher lows or at least bottomed out, then built higher lows and pushed up. But then the news that came out overnight into this morning, look at this, break all-time highs yesterday, pulled back, but then the news came out. So shot up pretty easily from there. I could put this on our list as a swing trade, but not as a day trade stock. TYGO, Tygo Energy. A couple of these energy trades will pop up every now and then recently, like T1 Energy. This thing's been on a tear. Good liquidity here. It's actually up 10%. Would have found it on the gainer side eventually at some point, but this one's kind of pulling back right now. What was that other one? Tygo. Checks out. Oh, wow. Look at this thing. This might have to do with the AI data centers, perhaps. So, it's got a pretty good historical area, just loosely speaking, right around this 260, 270-ish area. Over time, have that flip into support. I don't know if it's going to keep really running up today. This might just flatten out a little bit. There was one trade yesterday in the afternoon we put on our list that it was, kind of like this. I think it was the TII. Just was a dud. Didn't really do much there that afternoon. Kind of reminds me of it a bit there. So TYGO, really interesting stock, and it's at the highs today. I don't mind just putting this on our list for the afternoon, but if it flattens out, you know why. Put this on our side list, though, for next week at least. CTMX, ooh, really good pop. A lot better, actually, than that Tygo. So, yeah, this thing's looking pretty strong for the afternoon. No problem putting this back on our list also here. I say back on our list because a big volume spike here back May of last year only has continued to go up. You know what? I'll even probably take a picture of this thing here. This is a nice Fausto flag. So you have a pretty good top. You have a nice trend line there. Breakout your snipping tool here. A nice Fausto flag breakout, right? That's easy. Just copy and paste that inside our chat board right now for Tim, Sam, Bill, Leda, all of our students there. But yeah, for the afternoon right now, this thing's pretty damn interesting. So it's at the highs right now on good volume. So just kind of put this over the TYGO for now. Definitely on our list. CTMX. So a few of us talk about Riot earlier on today, the IREN trade earlier on today, some of those Bitcoin mining stocks going on up. Oh, you know what I got to do? Okay, give me a sec. I know why I did this here. I got to filter out my volume. I didn't do that yet. Keep seeing all these like tiny low volume things popping up left and right. This is what we want to focus on right now. PN, look at this thing push. This was going up as we were going down the gainers list there. So there's reran the scan, but this popping back up right now. This is probably the top stock here. Got to put this over the IBRX, over everything else. I know that Rich was on top of this earlier. He was calling this out to all of you traders here in our room. SMR, yeah, I mean, this is the ETF. So if this is up right now, then SMR has got to be looking pretty nice. Up over 8% at the high of the day. OKLO, it's also doing all right, just a little more expensive, not up as much percentage-wise. We'll go with the SMR. Kit robotic company, I think. IREN, like we had said, having a pretty good day today. This ended up filling a gap on the daily chart. We were calling this out from earlier this week, saying that over time, we felt pretty confident that this would look to fill this gap up towards 55.70. Your next one, though, is up towards just about 60 and some change. And that seems to be in sight. So, for right now, again, another trade I don't mind putting on our main list, Iron. We're a big fan of it as a day trade, swing trade, you name it trade. So NVTS as well, Leda. I think Leda was first to the punch on this one earlier on today too. So give her a shout out. But NVTS at the high right now. So great trade. And this could develop into a good swing trade over time also. Nice gap also here for this to fill. Big fan of our gaps here at CTU. So, man, speaking of, wow, what good timing here. What a segue. I actually wasn't even thinking about it. But while we're at it here, speaking of gaps, we'll turn over to SMCI because this ended up filling a perfect gap for us going into the summertime, early fall, summertime, whatever you want to call it. Boom, look at that. Traded this up from 46 up to 57, a little over it, then right back down. Going into the afternoon now, though, today, just kind of taking us back to the gainer side right now. Yeah, decent trade. All right, now we're building up a decent little watch list here. So I really like what we got. And if there's anything else that looks as good, Novo, that's looking pretty nice. Could make room for that. A little more expensive at least, but I don't really care for the Bitcoin mining stocks too much, unless if they were all really as sharp as honestly Novo was. I'd put them on our list, but all right, so we'll hop over to the losers list for right now, folks. Again, Grant, Michael, Kathleen, Brad, Steven, all of us here. Let me know if anything else looks good in chat. I'll just take a look at it here at the end here, but this thing took a hit. This thing finally took a hit. This thing was going up and up and up, almost like day over day for weeks. It's AXTI. DraftKings at the low, not really like a great short right now. If it was really pulling back here at the lows right now, I think otherwise. Looks like it's trying to bounce, but nothing really to write home about on that trade. And quite frankly, well, actually, this looks like a great short right now, believe it or not. I was about to say, funny enough, that's like a nice little inside joke. Typically, as I finish up the loser side, I'll say, it doesn't look like there's much left. Right as I say that, I'll click onto a stock that looks like the perfect short. And, well, this is a good embodiment of that little inside joke there. So we're going to put trade Unity Software on our list. It's not down more than 5%, but looks as good of a short that we could work with right now. So funny timing. All right, so for all of us here, otherwise, we got Barbara N on YouTube. Great to have you back, Barbara. Hope you have a great weekend, as well as, of course, Leda simulcasting. Let me know if anything else looks good, folks. But for all of us, though, here otherwise in chat, yeah, good reminder there, Sam, on the SMCI. There's an ETF for that. Well, actually, it's like dirt cheap. Also, I like that there. Good shout. Yeah, so if I put SMCI, I'll add the ETF. The only reason you would not see us add an ETF like this on our watch list is if the list is already too big. If we already have like 12 stocks, you can't make it like 20. So like we'll mention that over the microphone, but really good shot from Sam. We're going to add this here, the SMCL, to complement the equity. All right, we'll check out Benzinga. That PN trade's flying. We got to go back to, Lucifer. Or local 5, LCFY, Lucifer, local 5, whatever. Got a speech impediment. Now, this thing, though, either way here is just kind of holding flat. I feel like this is more of a tease. If it pops, we'll call it out. If it doesn't pop, there's a reason why it's not on our list to begin, right? So this is where you want to be picky and choosy. So for a pop and drop stock like this that, well, it's not really making a higher high just yet. It's more speculation. Until it makes a higher high, I have no real interest on this trade right now. That's all. All right. So, hey, I think that about wraps it up, folks. You got me on the mic heading into the afternoon, actually. So give me a quick sec. Got to catch my breath, refill up the old water bottle here. We'll be back on the mic. I'll be back on just about in about 14 or 15 or so minutes, just shortly after 3 o'clock. All right, folks. Hey, if I don't catch you, if you end up dipping out a little bit early inside our live trading room, or if you're on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, etc. Again, if you're there, just make sure to follow and subscribe right to our social, popping up again at Cyber Trading U, just on the lower left. But remember, Martin Luther King Day is on Monday. Markets are closed. So just remember that, because, hey, I keep forgetting about it. There's like the fifth time I forgot about it, at least in the last couple of days. I made a post on social media and someone wrote back, is like, I don't think you're selling that position on Monday. The markets are closed. I was like, you're right. Damn, I'm an idiot. Yeah, I keep forgetting. Martin Luther King Day. So, reminder, we'll be back on Tuesday. And with that, Tuesday, we have our phase one stock course. If you're a student of CTU, we're going to be beginning our curriculum again for 2026, starting from the top just after Martin Luther King Day, once we come back on Tuesday. All right. But otherwise, folks, hey, have a great long weekend. Otherwise, we'll be back for all